Picture this: a small-town gospel quartet singing in a high school gymnasium transforms into one of country music's most legendary acts, without a single scandal, public meltdown, or dramatic fallout. In an industry known for its explosive breakups and bitter rivalries, the Statler Brothers defied every expectation. They dominated country music for decades, won countless awards, and then simply walked away. At the height of their success, they made a decision that left fans stunned. But why? What really happened to make this powerhouse group vanish from the spotlight? The truth behind their exit reveals something even more surprising about one of country music's most beloved bands. In 1955, the halls of a Virginia high school echoed with harmonies that would change country music forever. Four young men, Harold Reed, Phil Balsley, Lou DeWitt, and Don Reed, weren't dreaming of Nashville stardom. They were just local boys who loved to sing, performing wherever they could find an audience. Between factory shifts and odd jobs, they practiced their harmonies, first as the Four-Star Quartet, then as the Kingsmen. But fate had bigger plans when they spotted a box of Statler tissues in a hotel room, giving birth to the Statler Brothers. Life in Staunton, Virginia, wasn't easy for aspiring musicians. The four men balanced day jobs with late-night performances, traveling to small churches and community events in a beat-up station wagon. Harold Reed worked at a local factory, while his younger brother Don juggled high school with their growing musical ambitions. Phil Balsley and Lou DeWitt took whatever gigs they could find to keep the dream alive. Their dedication to perfecting their craft meant countless hours of rehearsal in basements and garages, fine-tuning the four-part harmonies that would eventually become their trademark. The local circuit tested their resolve in ways they never expected, playing for sparse crowds in smoky bars, performing at county fairs where the livestock drew bigger audiences than they did, and driving through snowstorms to reach tiny churches. These experiences shaped not just their music, but their character. They developed a work ethic that would later become legendary in Nashville, and their struggles gave them the authentic connection to everyday life that would later define their songwriting. But everything changed one fateful night in 1964. Johnny Cash, already a household name, was performing nearby when he heard something special in their harmonies. It wasn't just their pitch-perfect vocals. It was the way they blended gospel soul with country heart, creating a sound that was both familiar and revolutionary. Cash didn't just offer them a spot on his show, he handed them the keys to country music stardom. Those local boys from Staunton suddenly found themselves on stages across America, performing for thousands instead of dozens. Their first breakthrough, Flowers on the Wall, wasn't just another country song, it was a statement. Gospel harmonies meeting clever wordplay, traditional country mixing with something entirely new. The song showcased their unique ability to tell stories through music, combining humor with heartfelt sincerity. When that Grammy arrived in 1965, it confirmed what Johnny Cash already knew. The Statler Brothers weren't just another singing group. They were revolutionaries in cowboy boots and pressed suits, about to transform the landscape of country music forever. As their star began to rise, something remarkable set them apart from their peers. While other groups chased trends and changed their sound to match the times, the Statler Brothers remained true to their roots. Their success proved that authenticity could triumph over flash, and substance could outlast style. But this was just the beginning of a journey that would take them places they never imagined. Their rise to fame with Johnny Cash might have opened doors, but it was what they did next that would cement their legacy forever. Just as they thought they'd reached the peak of country music stardom, the Statler Brothers were about to discover that their greatest innovation wasn't in their music at all. The Statler Brothers didn't just enter country music, they revolutionized it. Their versatility became legendary as they seamlessly wove between heartfelt gospel hymns and clever comedy numbers. Industry veterans watched in amazement as this unconventional quartet racked up CMA Vocal Group of the Year awards year after year, setting records that seemed unbreakable. The country music scene of the 1970s and 80s was transforming rapidly, with artists racing to embrace modern sounds. But the Statlers took a different approach. Their dedication to traditional harmonies and storytelling didn't just survive, it thrived. Each award they won wasn't just a trophy, it was validation that authenticity could outsell trends. Their influence spread beyond country music, inspiring gospel groups and even rock bands to experiment with four-part harmonies. Their stage presence was unmatched. While other acts relied on elaborate productions, the Statlers captivated audiences with nothing but their voices and wit. Harold Reed's bass vocals provided the foundation, while his brother Don's lead tenor soared above. Phil Balsley's baritone and Lou DeWitt's tenor completed a sound that seemed almost supernatural in its perfection. They made it look effortless, but each performance was the result of countless hours of rehearsal and dedication. Then came television, and the Statlers proved they were more than just musicians. The Statler Brothers show on TNN wasn't just another country music program. It became a cultural phenomenon. From 1991 to 1998, they dominated Saturday night television, drawing millions of viewers who tuned in not just for the music, but for the wholesome entertainment that reminded America of simpler times. The show's format was revolutionary, combining musical performances with comedy sketches and guest appearances in a way that had never been done before in country music television. Harold Reed's comedic timing turned simple song introductions into memorable moments. Whether he was telling stories about their early days or poking fun at modern trends, his humor bridged generations. The group's ability to poke fun at themselves while maintaining musical excellence created a unique entertainment package that no other act could replicate. They weren't just singers anymore. They were full-fledged entertainers who could hold their own against any variety show on television. Their songwriting evolved too. While other artists chased the latest trends, the Statlers dug deeper into American nostalgia. Songs like Do You Remember These and The Class of '57 struck emotional chords with listeners, painting vivid pictures of times gone by. They weren't just performing songs, they were preserving memories, becoming the soundtrack to America's collective nostalgia. Each album showcased their versatility, from gospel standards to historical ballads to comedy numbers that had audiences rolling with laughter. The demands of stardom were relentless. Weekly television appearances, constant touring, and maintaining their public image meant sacrificing personal time and family moments. The group found themselves caught between their love for performing and the exhausting reality of show business. Every standing ovation came with a price: missed birthdays, endless road miles, and the growing weight of public expectations. Yet they maintained their professionalism, never letting their personal struggles affect their performances. Behind the scenes, the pressure mounted. Record labels pushed for more albums, fans demanded more shows, and television executives wanted more episodes. The Statler Brothers maintained their signature humor and grace on stage, but backstage, the strain was beginning to show. Their commitment to quality meant every performance had to be perfect, every joke timed just right, and every harmony flawless. The toll of maintaining such high standards year after year was becoming increasingly apparent. While millions tuned in each week to see America's favorite quartet, few knew about the private struggles and personal costs of maintaining their spotless image. The truth behind their eventual departure from the spotlight would reveal something far more profound than anyone expected. And it all started with an unexpected revelation that would shake the foundation of their decades-long partnership. Maintaining perfect harmony wasn't just about music. It was about managing strong personalities and evolving relationships. Harold Reed's natural leadership kept the group grounded through their meteoric rise. His humor diffused tensions, while his business sense guided their career decisions. Don Reed's thoughtful approach to songwriting gave them depth, and Phil Balsley's quiet dedication provided stability. But in 1980, the group faced its first major challenge. Lou DeWitt's struggle with Crohn's disease had become unbearable. The pain medication, the exhaustion, the missed performances, each show became a test of will. For years, he'd hidden his suffering behind that signature Statler smile, but now it was impossible to ignore. The toll wasn't just physical. DeWitt's condition affected his confidence, his ability to perform, and ultimately, his sense of identity within the group. The others watched helplessly as their friend battled not just illness, but the fear of letting down the team. Their brotherhood, forged through years of struggle and success, faced its greatest test. Enter Jimmy Fortune, a young, talented singer from Virginia's Shenandoah Valley. His high tenor voice seemed heaven-sent, perfectly matching the group's established sound. Fortune brought more than just vocal ability. His songwriting talents added a fresh dimension. Elizabeth and My Only Love became instant classics, proving that change could strengthen rather than weaken the group's appeal. The transition wasn't just musical, it was emotional. The Statlers had lost more than a member. They'd lost a brother. Yet they handled DeWitt's departure with characteristic grace. No public drama, no bitter accusations, just dignity and support for their ailing friend. They continued to support DeWitt financially and emotionally until his passing in 1990, demonstrating a loyalty rare in the entertainment industry. Through the 1980s, the new lineup thrived. Fortune's youthful energy complemented the veteran performers' experience. They adapted to changing times without compromising their core values. Their television show reached new audiences, while their recordings continued to dominate country radio. Songs like Too Much on My Heart and Elizabeth showcased their evolution while maintaining their signature sound. Behind the scenes, Harold Reid was the glue holding everything together. His larger-than-life personality masked a shrewd business mind. He understood that their appeal went beyond music. They represented something timeless in a rapidly changing world. His leadership style was unique, using humor to diffuse tensions, wisdom to guide decisions, and compassion to maintain unity. The group's resilience through this transition period became legendary in Nashville. While other bands crumbled under similar pressures, the Statlers emerged stronger. Their handling of DeWitt's departure and Fortune's integration became a masterclass in grace under pressure. Industry insiders marveled at how they maintained their momentum despite such a significant change. This period also marked a subtle shift in their creative direction. Fortune's influence brought a contemporary edge to their traditional sound. His songwriting contributions helped bridge the gap between their established audience and a new generation of country music fans. The group's ability to evolve while staying true to their roots became even more apparent. Their success during this era wasn't just about hit records and awards. It was about proving that their bond as brothers, both in blood and in spirit, could weather any storm. The way they handled adversity became as much a part of their legacy as their music. But as the 1990s drew to a close, Harold noticed something changing within himself, a subtle shift that would eventually lead to one of the most unexpected decisions in country music history. The clock was ticking, though nobody knew it yet, and the true test of their brotherhood was about to begin. The year 2002 sent shockwaves through the country music world. The Statler Brothers announced their retirement, not due to scandal or declining popularity, but a conscious choice to end things on their own terms. This decision, made at the height of their success, left fans and industry insiders stunned. Harold Reid's health had begun showing signs of strain. The demanding schedule of performances, television appearances, and constant travel was taking its toll. The group had watched others in the industry push themselves past their limits, often with devastating consequences. But the Statlers had always done things differently. The television show's success had brought new pressures. Weekly recordings, constant script revisions, and the need to maintain their family-friendly image while staying relevant took tremendous energy. The physical demands of performing began weighing heavily, particularly on Harold, whose larger-than-life stage presence required increasing effort to maintain. The farewell tour became a celebration rather than a goodbye. Every venue sold out within hours of tickets going on sale. Fans traveled hundreds of miles to catch one last glimpse of their musical heroes. The shows weren't melancholy affairs. They were joyous celebrations of a legacy that spanned nearly 5 decades. Each performance became more poignant than the last. The group pulled out all their classics, from Flowers on the Wall to Elizabeth. They shared stories between songs, turning each show into an intimate gathering of friends rather than a formal concert. Harold's comedy remained sharp as ever, though close observers noticed he moved more carefully on stage. Behind the scenes, the decision to retire had sparked deep conversations about legacy and timing. They'd watched too many legendary acts continue past their prime, diminishing the very legacy they'd worked so hard to build. The Statlers were determined to leave while their harmonies were still perfect, their humor still sharp, and their dignity intact. Their final concert in Salem, Virginia, brought everything full circle. Just miles from where they'd started, they delivered a performance that encapsulated their entire journey. The harmony was perfect, the timing impeccable, and the emotion raw and real. As they took their final bow, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. But retirement wasn't about fading away. Don Reed turned to writing books, sharing behind-the-scenes stories of their remarkable journey. Phil Balsley chose a quieter life, while Jimmy Fortune launched a successful solo career. The group's influence continued to ripple through country music, inspiring new artists and keeping traditional harmonies alive. The industry landscape they left behind was changing rapidly. Contemporary country was moving away from the traditional sounds and values the Statlers had championed. Their retirement wasn't just about physical preservation. It was about protecting a legacy that represented country music's golden age. The decision to step away revealed something profound about their character. In an industry known for desperate comebacks and forced farewells, the Statlers chose dignity over dollars. They understood that their impact wasn't measured in record sales or awards, but in the lives they'd touched and the standards they'd set. This wasn't an ending forced by circumstance. It was a choice made from wisdom and foresight. They recognized that preserving their legacy meant knowing when to step away, maintaining the quality and dignity that had defined their career. Their departure became as much a part of their legacy as their music. The Statler Brothers had mastered the art of perfect timing, both in music and life. But as they settled into retirement, fate had one more chapter to write, one that would truly test the strength of their brotherhood and reveal the lasting impact of their legacy. The post-retirement years brought new adventures for each member. Jimmy Fortune hit the ground running, channeling his songwriting talents into a vibrant solo career. His voice, which had helped carry the Statlers through their later years, now soared on his own terms. Multiple albums and tours proved that the youngest Statler had absorbed every lesson from his mentors. Don Reed discovered a new voice, not in singing, but in writing. His books offered fans unprecedented glimpses behind the curtain of the Statler Brothers' journey. From detailed memoirs to novels inspired by life on the road, Don's words kept the Statler spirit alive through literature. His writing revealed intimate details about the group's history that had never been shared before, painting a rich portrait of their decades together. Phil Balsley chose a different path. The quiet backbone of the group embraced the peace of private life, finding joy in family and community rather than stage lights. His decision to step completely away from the entertainment industry reflected the genuine humility that had always characterized the group. In rare interviews, he spoke of treasuring simple moments, attending church, spending time with grandchildren, and occasionally harmonizing just for the pure joy of it. The group's influence continued to ripple through Nashville. New artists sought their advice, studied their harmonies, and cited them as inspirations. Their retirement hadn't diminished their impact. If anything, it had enhanced their legendary status. Country music's evolution in the 2000s and 2010 made their traditional values and authentic approach seem even more precious. Then came 2020, and the news that shook the country music world. Harold Reed, the comedic genius and founding member, passed away at age 80. The loss was felt far beyond the music industry. Tributes poured in from artists across every genre, each sharing stories of how Harold's humor, kindness, and leadership had influenced their careers. The COVID-19 pandemic meant that Harold couldn't receive the grand farewell he deserved. Yet somehow this intimate goodbye seemed fitting for a man who had always valued substance over spectacle. Fellow artists honored him through social media and virtual tributes, highlighting how the Statlers' influence had spread far beyond country music's borders. Don Reed later revealed that Harold had faced his final days with the same grace and humor that had characterized his entire career. Even in illness, he remained focused on bringing joy to others, sharing stories and jokes with hospital staff. His passing marked not just the loss of a performer, but the end of an era in country music. Jimmy Fortune continued to honor the group's legacy through his performances, often including Statler Brothers classics in his shows. Each rendition served as both tribute and reminder of the timeless appeal of their music. His success as a solo artist proved that the Statler Brothers' approach to music, focusing on quality, authenticity, and connection with audiences, remained viable in the modern era. The years following Harold's passing saw a renewed interest in the Statler Brothers' catalog. New generations discovered their music through streaming platforms, drawn to the sincerity and craftsmanship that had made them legends. Their influence could be heard in the harmonies of contemporary groups and seen in the way many artists approach their careers. Harold's passing marked more than the loss of a legendary performer. It symbolized the end of an era in country music. But as new artists and audiences continued to discover their music, the true measure of the Statlers' legacy was about to reveal itself in an unexpected way that would prove their impact was far from over. Their influence reverberates through modern country music in unexpected ways. While today's country stars might not share their style, they've inherited the Statlers' commitment to storytelling and authenticity. The group's ability to blend entertainment with artistry created a template that modern artists still follow. Consider their impact on television. Before reality TV dominated music programming, the Statlers showed how to bring country music to the small screen without sacrificing integrity. Their TNN show's success proved that traditional values could draw massive audiences, creating a blueprint for future country music programming. Their business model was equally influential. By maintaining creative control and staying true to their artistic vision, they showed artists could achieve commercial success without compromising their values. This independence influenced generations of musicians who would later navigate the complex world of music streaming and digital distribution. The group's dedication to storytelling transformed country music's narrative approach. While their contemporaries often focused on personal heartbreak and hard times, the Statlers expanded country music's thematic range. They could move seamlessly from nostalgic reflections to social commentary, from gospel inspiration to clever comedy, all while maintaining their distinctive sound. Their harmonies changed country music forever. Modern groups still study their vocal arrangements, trying to capture that perfect blend of bass, baritone, and tenor. The intricate layering of voices in contemporary country music owes a debt to the Statlers' pioneering sound. Their influence can be heard in groups from Diamond Rio to Little Big Town. Beyond music, their impact on American culture runs deep. They preserved a particular moment in American history through their songs, creating a time capsule of mid-20th century life. Songs like Do You Remember These and The Class of '57 weren't just hits. They were cultural documents that captured the essence of a generation. Their approach to fame offered a masterclass in maintaining dignity in the spotlight. Unlike many of their contemporaries, they avoided the pitfalls of ego and excess. Their humble demeanor and commitment to their values showed that stardom didn't have to change one's character. Technology has given their legacy new life. Streaming platforms have introduced the Statlers to younger audiences who appreciate their storytelling and craftsmanship. Their music videos, preserved on YouTube, showcase their unique blend of humor and harmony for new generations. Social media has created communities of fans who share memories and introduce new listeners to their catalog. The Statlers' influence extends beyond entertainment into the realm of business ethics. Their decision to maintain creative control of their music and image, even when faced with pressure to change, demonstrated the value of artistic integrity. This lesson resonates particularly strongly in today's digital age, where artists face constant pressure to adapt to trending sounds and styles. Their impact on gospel music shouldn't be overlooked. By incorporating gospel harmonies into mainstream country music, they helped bridge a cultural gap that had long existed in American music. Their success proved that religious themes could find a home in commercial country music without losing their spiritual significance. But perhaps their most significant legacy isn't in their music at all. The way they chose to end their career would set a precedent that challenges every artist facing the twilight of their career. The final chapter of their story reveals a truth about success that few in the entertainment industry have grasped. What really happened to the Statler Brothers? They did something unprecedented in music history. They chose the perfect moment to step away, protecting both their legacy and their brotherhood. In an industry filled with aging stars desperately clinging to fading glory, the Statlers recognized when to bow out gracefully. Their retirement wasn't forced by scandal or declining popularity. It was a calculated decision to preserve their dignity and the quality of their work. This final act of wisdom cemented their legend. Today's artists study not just their harmonies, but their character. Their influence extends beyond music into how to conduct oneself with grace in the entertainment industry. The Statlers proved that success doesn't have to corrupt, fame doesn't have to destroy friendships, and endings don't have to be bitter. Their story stands as a testament to the power of staying true to one's values. The real story of the Statler Brothers isn't about their rise to fame or even their musical innovations. It's about four men who maintained their integrity through 5 decades of stardom, then had the wisdom to walk away while their legacy was still shining bright. In doing so, they wrote the perfect final chapter to one of country music's greatest stories. Check out our next video on another legendary country act who changed music forever, and whose story has an even more surprising ending.